Roblox YouTubers have been using the passing of a person for views, and we need to talk about it. From pretending that making videos on this tragedy doesn't profit their channels, to potentially helping the game run by the very people who they thought caused this tragedy in the first place. And the worst part, it isn't a few small channels doing this. It's some of the biggest YouTubers in the genre, maybe even creators you watch every single day. This situation is absolutely disgusting, and it's time we actually discuss it. Now, I do need to go over the tragedy that happened briefly. A few days ago, a young Roblox player who will not be named out of respect tragically passed away due to an epileptic seizure. This seizure was allegedly triggered by a specific game on Roblox that lacked proper warnings. To make the horrific situation even worse, some of the developers of the game were caught mocking the incident and the passing of this young player. Now, while I'm not going to name the game right this second, we will be looking at the data later in this video. Because the reckless behavior of these Roblox YouTubers hasn't just spread the news, it has caused this exact game to explode in popularity, potentially lining the pockets of these very developers who mocked this player's death. Now, this is the script that I wrote yesterday, and you won't believe what happened in the meanwhile. So, me being me, I always wait a day or two before releasing videos on topics this sensitive, because I want the full story to be out and clear. Well, apparently this entire story was most likely f***ing fake. Which, if this is the case, not only means that these Roblox YouTubers used what they thought was the passing of someone for personal gain, but they also slandered the shit out of a game in the process. Now, I actually heard about the situation pretty early on because of my friend Ren. He sent me a message saying a kid f***ing died because of a Roblox game. At that moment, I realized it was a tragic story, but honestly, I didn't expect to hear much more from it. I mean, surely my fellow Roblox creators would understand this isn't a topic you should use for personal gain, right? I was horribly mistaken. The next day, I got home from college and opened YouTube. My feed was already flooded. I saw many creators making incredibly low quality videos compared to their usual content, all focused on this one tragedy. It was clear they were just rushing out to videos to be the first one on the new big topic. I can't think of any other reason for these videos being so low effort other than them being desperate to grab views before the hype died down. Now, one thing I noticed with almost all of these videos is that the creators went out of the way to state that they turned off monetization.
This video will not be monetized in any way, and
So today's video is going to be a very serious one. It's going to be no clickbait, no monetization, because
they apparently wanted to make it seem like they weren't gaining anything from this tragedy. I find it hard to believe that these creators actually thought that they'd gain nothing from these videos blowing up, especially when some of them gained hundreds of thousands of views more than their usual content. Let me break it down simply. Even if I turn off monetization on this video right now, I still gain subscribers. Those new subscribers will go and watch my other videos that are monetized. I would have never reached those viewers without making this video as a gateway. The same thing applies to these tragedy videos. These Roblox YouTubers are indirectly profiting through a massive channel growth. But even if those viewers don't subscribe, because they clicked once, the YouTube algorithm is now much more likely to recommend the creators' future content to them. They aren't just reporting, they are building an audience on the back of this horrible incident. Now, many of these creators claim they aren't going to clickbait these videos.
So today's video is going to be a very serious one. It's going to be no clickbait, no monetization, because
some didn't, they stayed purely factual. However, just because you're staying factual doesn't mean that you aren't clickbaiting. Besides that, I've seen so many videos capitalizing words like killed in the title as if it is just any other drama. On top of that, most of these videos mainly criticize the developer's response and the refusal to add proper epilepsy warnings. So if the video is about the developers, why call it this Roblox game killed someone or something along those lines? Why not focus on the actual subject? Titles like how these developers became the most hated on the platform are already popular and effective. I can't see any reason for titling your video after the tragedy itself, especially when these creators claim to be so afraid of accidentally clickbaiting the tragedy. Now, if you want to clickbait the situation, be my guest, but at least have the balls to stand behind your actions. Now, many creators did call out the game that they thought caused this incident, likely with the idea that it would be boycotted. But quite the opposite happened. The game spiked in players. On April 5th, it had 419 players logging in. By April 6th, that number nearly hit 2,500. That is a six-fold increase. Now, I have to be fair, I don't know the exact details of how these specific developers monetize their game, but I highly doubt that having your player count increase sixfold doesn't gain you at least a little something in the long run. That is the exact reason why I would never name the game or developers in a similar exposed video like we've seen from these Roblox YouTubers. Not because I want to protect them, but because I cannot justify accidentally helping a game run by people who do things I found so horrific. Now we're gonna talk about the most insane part of this entire situation, the fact that the entire thing was potentially fake, and how some creators are just laughing about it. That is, you have people admitting they didn't think about it too much.
My video yesterday is completely redundant. Despite a few things that just need to be corrected, that video no one died. And the person who is accusing Doom By Fate of this, relaying all the information about someone dying and everything that happened, is 13 years old. If I knew that sooner, I think my suspicions would have been a lot higher. I did have some suspicions because, I mean, without proof, it's kind of hard to just believe. But the way that some people in the Doom By Fate server were acting about it, I guess it kind of just made me think it was real. I was so disgusted by how they were acting about it that I kind of just didn't really think about it too much.
The fuck you mean you didn't think about it too much? You basically accused someone of causing another person's death due to their negligence. And you didn't think about it too much? They're also blaming the person who made up the false allegations for the smear campaign. Which sounds fair until you realize it's a 13-year-old who they just trusted on her word, without checking anything else besides the Discord messages she and her friends sent. When you have a massive channel and you talk about any type of news, you're supposed to check whether that news is true, not just trust the word of a random 13-year-old girl. Now, I do want to give massive props to Crickcraft because he was the one who actually figured out the whole situation was most likely bullshit. Again, dare I say most likely because it is hard to confirm fake allegations. Now, I have to address the elephant in the room. Am I not also profiting over the situation right now? And the answer is I am making a video on a trending topic, yes, but there is a massive difference between what I'm doing and what they did. I didn't rush to be first. I didn't help spread a potential lie that could have ruined a developer's life. And most importantly, I am not here to report on a tragedy for shock value. I'm here to call out the reckless behavior that allowed a potential hoax to gain that much notoriety. At the end of the day, I wanted someone to speak out on this insane vulture-like behavior, but nobody did. So here I am. In the long term, this video is probably a massive downside for my channel. The amount of bridges I've just burned is unimaginable, and it will most certainly have a negative impact on my future opportunities. Yet, I felt like someone had to say something, so that is what I'm doing. Now, before I end the video, I think it's important to say that this video is based upon my opinion. There is no rule saying you aren't allowed to make videos like these Roblox YouTubers did. Now, if the situation turns out to actually be fake, it might be a bit of a gray area, but I'll not talk about it all too much since I don't want to get myself in legal trouble. And if you feel called out, don't worry. I'll make sure to turn monetization off for this video. Because according to your own logic, that means I'm not dragging your names with the mod for profit. I'm merely voicing my opinion to cover a horrible situation. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed. Please support this video because I'm actually cooked after this one. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.